Hello everyone. So this has been the process of my last project on Senator Aniekan Bassey Unity Hall signage, and the work was actually produced and finished with fiberglass, and it was a fun-filled kind of project because I personally decided to enjoy the process. So that is why most of the processes were accompanied by background music and also showing off my dance skills. So basically, I started the work by modeling the letters and the background using clay, and afterwards, I now, applied my separator on the surfaces of the clay. Sorry, I don't actually have that recording here, but the work actually started from mold taking stage, and this is actually the mold taking stage. So what I used for the mold taking was actually a plaster of Paris POP, and the process already after applying the glue, or sorry, the POP on the surface, you now have to reinforce it. So this is actually the reinforcement stage, which I use the POP sponge and some wood, to actually reinforce it so that it will give strength to the mold, and while pulling it off, it will not break. So this is actually the reinforcement proper, that is the wood that I used. Occasionally I used 2x2 and 2x3 wood for the reinforcement, and I just needed to cross it over each other to make sure that it gives me the desired strength that I needed for the pulling of the mold. And also to add, the process actually took much of the times that I carry on the work. I was lately, because when I closed from the studio, I had to channel the energy back to this other side. Okay, so that's most of the process we recorded in the night. So that is how it's been. So this is still the mold taking process, and it was very okay. I learned, and it was a time for me to also show my practice. And after that, it was time to open the mold. It was quite heavy, so I couldn't do it alone. So I had some of my friends who were around to help me pull it up, and that is how it is. So the mold was quite heavy, and it was necessary to have someone assist. Because it will drop gently, 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 gently till it gets to the ground. Bam. Okay. So the white stuff on the surface of the work was actually a flex banner that I actually placed on the floor so that the mold does not have direct contact to the floor. If I did not put that, it would have been a bit difficult for me to pull it out. So you see, this is the mold. It came out very successfully, and those are the clay slabs that I use for the modeling. So, and the red stuff on the POP, or should I say the yellowish stuff, the color, is actually the separator. I actually use red palm oil as my separator, which I applied on the clay surfaces before I now cast with POP. So that is what I use basically. That's what I was taught to use, and that is it. So after that, after opening the mold, I have to pick the clay that was tucked in the form. Okay, the decorative around the lettering. We filled with clay, so I had to pick them up. This process needed a closer attention. Okay, so you have to do it bit by bit so that you will not break the form. It's POP and some parts might be very fragile, so I had to put it one after the other, remove all the clay that was stocked inside the form. And these are the alphabet, one after the other. And the surface of the work was also clean, removed of the clay. So that is a stage, and we are still getting to another stage, which is also very interesting. And I think I did this particular process in the morning, because I actually slept over in a studio. And okay, this is the fiberglass process. After removing the clay lumps, the next thing I did was to apply my separator again on the surface of the clean mold, before I now applied the face coating of my resin. And you know what resin is made of? If you don't know, it's actually for you to have fiberglass, you need to make some resin, and you mix resin with catalyst, accelerator, and apply on the surface. So after applying the face coating, I had to stuff the surface with the fiber mat. The fiber mat helps give strength to the resin cast, so that it does not break easily, and it allows the mixture to bind together completely. So this material now is actually the fiber mat that I had to place on every part of the surface, insert some into the spaces of the alphabet, into the forms. So after applying that, I now had to apply my resin again. I had to dab the mat to absorb properly. Then afterwards, I had to break off the mold to have my charged fiberglass. This stage actually took some time, okay, because number one is I had to be very careful as well, because if you break it too hard, it's going to break the fiber. So at this point, I was very gradual, very process. I didn't just have to break anyhow. Number one, I did the modeling, so I know each embossment. I know where the alphabet, where the lettering actually started from. So when I got to that point, I had to lift the POP cast gently at some point, and need to use knife to harvest the cast of the surface of the cast work. So that is another stage there. Fiberglass process is a bit tedious, okay, and the funny thing is that you cannot skip any stage, so you have to follow it one after the other to actually have a desired result. If you skip stages, you make mistakes. So after that, I have to start cleaning, wash, file off the rough surfaces, because I actually needed the main surface to actually be smooth. So I had to clean, wash, and after that I applied my undertone, and I used auto-base paint mixed with the gold and the black and a red paint. I have my dark brown chocolate color as my undertone. Then I had to apply it all over the work. That serves as my undertone, because another color is coming up on the work, so it will help project where I want to be projected. So that is that. And after applying the undertone, allow it to dry the whole day. I come back the following day to start highlighting the surfaces, and I actually started with the background, because it was not the best idea to start with the surface of the letters, okay, because once you are done with that, and any other paint that drops on the surface might, look as thin. So I had to work with from the background. Then after that, and untouch the highlight it again, to have my desired color shades that I wanted. If we check the letters, the legends are actually very bold and conspicuous compared to the background. The background is a bit, not too bright, because I needed that contrast. Even though I'm using the same color, I need that contrast to be felt. So that is that. So here are some of the pictorial references or processes of, the works, and also how to save them here. So that is how it's been. So before we get to the installation, it was a very tedious stage. Installation was tedious because we did not have scaffolds, and it was quite hard. I think we had about 10 feet high while I'm standing right there. It was very, very risky, if I may say so, because works like this were supposed to be accompanied by scaffold, but we did not have, so we had to use the ladder, for the installation. So it took longer time for me to be able to install it, and I'm grateful that the work came out okay despite those limitations. So that is the permanent site of the work, and that is the Senator Aniekan Bassey Unity Hall that was built in the Uran Local Government Secretariat in Akwa Ibom State. So the sculpture actually gave the hall a new look compared to what was there before. And this is the finished work. Thank you.